Arsenal's coming for the Premier League. The game between Arsenal and Tottenham just ended, and I'm not going to take as much time going through this game as I did for the Barcelona and Real Madrid one, because I want to talk about two games in this video. But before I continue, my name is Victor and I talk about football here on YouTube. So if you want to hear more about recent games, about transfers, about news, about anything that's going on in the world of football, follow me. So let's start by Arsenal and Tottenham. To summarize the game, basically it was Arsenal pressuring 60 minutes of the game, and then Tottenham trying to catch up at the end. The game started with Tottenham scoring at the beginning, Arsenal getting the equalizer right after, and at the end of the first half, them scoring the second goal. But even though the game was 2-1, so all the goals were in the first half, the game was pretty active. To be honest, I don't remember when was the last time that I saw that many chances lost. Arsenal could have this game 5-1 in the first half. And since we're talking about Arsenal, let's talk a little bit about Gabriel Jesus. I personally really like him. I think he's a great striker. I think he's one of those cases that plays better on his team than he does on the national team. That's why he's not called for anymore. But he comes from really good seasons. He did an amazing season last year. I think he did a season even better the year before, both also for Arsenal. And on Arsenal last game, when they play against Manchester United at home for the FA Cup, he got subbed out for being hurt. At the time, we didn't know exactly how bad was his injury, but yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, Arsenal put out a post explaining what his injury was. And he got an ACL injury, which nowadays is not as bad as it was before, but is still a pretty big injury. He's likely out for the season, so that is a big loss for Arsenal. That is actually one of the reasons why I really want to watch this game against Tottenham, because I wanted to know how well were they going to replace him. He didn't do a very good start of the season this year, but the season for him was starting to pick up. He was doing better and better matches every time. So I think it would be a big loss for Arsenal, but for what I saw, they have the potential to replace him, at least until he gets better. On the Tottenham side, we did see Richarlison coming in. He that got hurt couple times for Tottenham and hasn't been able to perform as well because of these injuries. He was even searched for by Brazilian teams, including my own, but Tottenham refused to negotiate him. They said that they are on their plans, so it was nice to see him in the field, and he actually played pretty good. He didn't play the whole game, but his participation when he got in was good. But let's go to the point of the video. Why do I think that Arsenal is coming for the Premier League? If you have followed the past 2 seasons of the Premier League, Arsenal played fairly well. If it wasn't for Manchester City, they probably would have won. And this year, City's kind of out of the picture, I would say. Liverpool, however, they are playing amazingly. The reason why I think that Liverpool won't take the Premier League this year is because of the Champions League. Liverpool had a 6-point advantage with a game less. Right now, they're still 4 points ahead, and they still have that game advantage. But we only have 2 more games of the league stage, of the Champions League. I really think that when the playoffs begin, Liverpool will focus on that, especially given their history of the recent Champions League. They have lost, if I'm not mistaken, 2 finals to Real Madrid, and there was that final where Salah got hurt by Sergio Ramos. And at the current moment that Salah is, I really think that Liverpool has a big chance on the Champions League this year. And speaking on Salah, I do want to make a video entirely about him. I think that his season this year, it's one that's gonna mark history. And honestly, every time that I talk about Salah, I remember that he is the same age as Neymar is. And it's crazy to think about these 2 players. They are the same age and yet playing 2 different leagues. I actually saw a stat today about Neymar, how he has more kids than he has goals on the last year. So that's crazy. It's crazy to think that these 2 players could have they had the potential to play in the same league and where they are right now. But yeah, that video is coming soon. So do you have any other players that you would like me to talk about more detail? Let me know. So thinking about how they will prioritize the tournaments, and since Arsenal just got eliminated from the FA Cup and probably will be eliminated also from the EFL Cup. I know that Arsenal is still very much alive on the Champions League, but I think they will prioritize the Premier League just given the recent history. And for the Arsenal fans, I must say I like Arsenal. From the English teams, it's probably the one that I like the most. I think it would be really nice the day that they win a Champions League, because I think it's just a matter of time. But the fact that they were second place 2 times in a row, both losing to Manchester City, and I don't see them winning a Champions League this season. So with that, we can also talk a little bit about the Liverpool and Nottingham Forest game. Nottingham Forest has an amazing squad. They're doing very, very good this year. But let's be honest, I don't think that they are fighting for a Premier League title. And I think that was very clear on the game against Liverpool. If you're third place on the tournament and you're trying to win it, you wouldn't be happy just tying with the person that's on the first place. You would want to win it. But that's the feeling that we got from the game, was that Liverpool was pissed that they tied the game, and Nottingham Forest were happy that they didn't lose it. I was planning to go more in depth about the Liverpool and Nottingham Forest game, but honestly, if you watch the highlights of the game, you will see that there was nothing to talk about. The game was very, very defensive on both sides. The defensive of both teams did so good that there were not that many chances. And I want to hear from you. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League and the Premier League this year? Also, I want to take some time to just say thank you for everyone that subscribed and also comment on the last video. Since it was my first video, I was a little bit nervous. I think I did a little bit better this time. And don't miss out, Real Madrid is playing tomorrow. I will likely talk about that game and the game that happened today with Barcelona, since Barcelona and Real Madrid are very likely to face each other on the next stage of the Spanish Cup. See you on the next one.